We are living in a strange time. There has been nothing that has ever happened like this in our lifetime. We are all dealing with this differently. As sports fans, how are you dealing with it? The absence of a last-second shot, Cinderella championship runs, the pop of the bat, the bend of a perfect goal, a flawless one-timer. It's different, but we'll get through it together. Join us.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our sports podcast, After Reviewing Play, and my name is Manny C. Our goal is to provide you guys, entertain you, our sports views, and so forth. We hope to give you as much knowledge as we can in our opinions on the professional sports world. I want to introduce our three contributors here. First one is Garrick. Second one is Tom. Third one is Taylor. And here we go. Before we start off, the one thing that's affecting all professional sports right now is the coronavirus and how it has impacted and shut down every professional sport. And here are our guys to tell their views on it and go.
All right, good job, Manny. Thank you for the introduction. This is our very first podcast, just to let you know. So if we sound weird or anything like that, that's why. We're going to get better. I'm going to add some B-roll. This is going to be fabulous. But yeah, Corona, I mean, like, we can't not talk about it. I feel like it would be insensitive if we didn't. We're all sports fans here, as you can see. And like, obviously this is affecting us a lot. And this is all opinion based. This is what this podcast is for. And I just want everyone's take on what's going to happen with the virus and how it's going to affect our favorite sports, especially with the NBA. And me and the fellas, we were just talking about it, and we think the NBA, like, especially, and the NHL, since they're in the same boat, they should just jump straight into the playoffs. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, they should just definitely jump straight into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. It's like NBA, considering the NBA here, the playoffs start in the calendar year in about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So if we pick up where we left off, say May 1st, it'll permanently probably change the calendar year. So jumping back into the playoffs makes sense here, where we'll be somewhat on track, give or take a couple weeks, and we can just continue the calendar year next year as scheduled. Makes a lot more sense. It can't be perfect when you're dealing with a pandemic like this, but that probably makes the most sense.
Okay, now a lot of people are talking about you can't just jump right back in because injuries, like the players aren't fresh. This is almost like starting a brand new season again since they've been off for so long. So, and there's also the teams that were on the cusp. I haven't looked at the standings recently, but there are a couple teams that, like, the Kings are there, definitely. The Pelicans are right there, and like, you got Zion, he's finally healthy, and they're like just outside the playoffs. They could have had a chance to get back in. Mm-hmm. So do you extend the playoffs so players like that can get in, or what?
I don't think you have time. It's just out of necessity. You can't. It's better than canceling them. I mean, you have people like LeBron, who doesn't have that many years left, although he will not slow down, despite how much I want him to slow down. You could deny him a shot at a ring. You're denying a lot of people a shot at the ring if you don't let them play. So they have to play. I think Taylor had a great idea, mentioned earlier. If you can keep everyone playing at the same location, maybe in Vegas, cut down on travel days, which is tough on the players in general. And just get it going. And you have a conflict with hockey, so you probably have to do that because Staples Center, you have the Kings playing there too. So
if you're going to continue the season, it seems like the only feasible idea there to keep everybody in a bubble. You train there, you don't travel. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah, I mean that's good too. Like first of all, you got all those casinos; they're empty, so they can get all of the Fat Tuesdays they want,
Yep.
and they could actually play where where the Golden Knights play. Like that T-Mobile Arena is
Oh,
pretty.
it's beautiful. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice.
Right.
They were saying UNLV where they do the when they do a lot of the summer league and stuff like that. But you got the T-Mobile Center. I mean, I guess if the Golden Knights are playing there, you can't
Mhm.
do it. But yeah, like I say moving to Vegas, like get it done. But yeah, like you bring up a good point, and all these other leagues that like baseball. I know Manny's a big baseball fan, and at first they were just going to delay the season 2 weeks. But what happens in baseball, especially this is a game that needs to be played like day in and day out, and they can't really do any delays. There's no open dates for baseball where they can make up games. Like what's going to happen there?
I think one thing to take into factor too is that a lot of these major cities are implementing the stay at home. So
Yeah.
every city has been different. Like here in LA, like our mayor is keeping us staying at home until the end of April. And I was reading over in Toronto that people are supposed to stay home until mid-June. So
Wow. Are you serious?
yeah,
Well, I think it's clear that New York is the hardest hit.
Yeah,
So
for
how
sure.
are you going to tell players like, oh yeah, you have a game in New York?
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't.
That's my rest day. Like, it's
Yeah,
gonna be a while to get back to normal.
yeah, and that's the crazy thing. And the one thing, and this is going to be a segue into our second topic, if Manny will introduce us, is like the one thing that's kept us afloat is free agency. So yeah, Manny, talk about open up the free agency, and what we'll be talking about in our second topic.
well, guys, here we are. Our second topic was obviously the NFL. Despite all the professional sports being on long hiatus right now, the biggest sport out there being talked about is the NFL. And the biggest news to come out of this was Tom Brady signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And who would have thought that was going to happen? So,
Not me. I
Nobody.
mean, he's not going to be one of the winners we're going to talk about, but Tom Brady, not the Bucks, but Tom Brady is one of the biggest winners. He's like the honorable mention big winner.
Without a doubt.
Funny
He's
you said that because allegedly he is the one who pursued the Bucks. The Bucks weren't pursuing him. He wanted that situation.
yeah, why not? I mean, like people retire in Florida, right? Might as well go to Florida and
Might as well retire with a couple 1,000-yard receivers and a stud tight end.
it's the best way to retire. It's like, oh, let me like trade in my jalopy in the cold weather and like get my Lamborghini and go to South Beach.
It is
I mean,
Look how close the Bucks were last year. They were this close to the playoffs
Yeah.
with James Winston,
Yeah.
trying to lose the games for them. Tried very hard to lose those
It's hard to win with throwing 30 picks. So
I mean,
That is
like,
a good team. Their defense is solid. I don't see any problems on their offensive. Certainly, the defensive line is fantastic.
yeah,
So, and he's got those receivers. Jesus.
yeah, that's he is definitely the honorable mention. Tom, why don't you get started in who is your biggest winner of the NFL offseason?
Well, Blake Martinez.
This is
I don't-
huge. Like, I want to know this inside information. You were teasing it.
I don't
How
know
do you
if he's
this?
a winner or a loser, or who's the winner and loser in this. But if you look at his, I was excited at first, but then you look at his tape, and it is disgraceful how bad he is. You look at it; it's so bad. He looks so lost out there.
Oh,
His contract is huge. It's $8 million a year for 3 years.
that's
And we signed David Mayo for I think a third of that. And I like David Mayo. And we have some young guys, and we're probably going to draft linebackers. So why do that? But allegedly, you hear Blake Martinez say, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He says that in Green Bay, he never had any assignments. He never had any assignments. He had no gap assignment, nothing. He was told, and I'll quote him here, to play cleanup. So basically, it doesn't make any sense. The Green Bay went to the playoffs. Green Bay is a good team, and their defense came through. So I cannot imagine them telling a starting linebacker, to just go out there and see what happens and clean up the plays. But if you look at the tape, that's what it looks like. So either he's lying or someone's lying. Someone is really screwing up. But I've never heard of that. Being given no assignments and told just to play cleanup. But that's exactly what it looked like. So that's up in the air. That whole signing and him as a player is, we'll see in the first couple of weeks we get there.
All right, that's interesting. Like
It'll be
Blake,
interesting. Yeah, I don't know win or loser, but it's definitely interesting.
yeah, like it's one of those things where if if you're sitting there and you're playing like literally like here, just go out there and like tackle
You're
people.
playing
Like
play.
you got
I'm looking at the tape, and that is what it looks like. It's insane, and he had a lot of tackles. That's why I was excited at first. I'm like, oh my god, this guy has so many tackles, and because he's playing cleanup. Yeah, he's tackling the guy after he just gave up the first down, or after he just gave up 15 yards. So I mean, yeah, the
yeah.
stat is there as a tackle, but he looks like a hot mess out there.
I
But
mean,
how is it possible that he's not being given assignments?
yeah, especially being like basically the middle linebacker that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
supposed to be the coverage linebacker. And like I don't know if he's just saying it to save face for himself or
That's what it could be, but we're gonna find out. So I'm
yeah, that's insane. All right, Taylor, what you got?
One of my big winners was Emmanuel Sanders going to the Saints. So the winner right there is Drew Brees, because Drew Brees has been tearing the league up for feels like 30, 40 years now. And Michael Thomas, of course, putting up huge numbers every year in and year out. And now you got another bona fide threat on the other side of the field. We haven't seen Drew Brees with two legit weapons like this in a while.
Not in a long
Drew
time.
Brees makes scrubs look. He makes scrubs go for about 6-7 touchdowns a year. So
yeah,
when you have a legit long speed threat like Emmanuel Sanders there, that's been doing it for probably close to a decade by now.
yeah, this will be its 11th season.
It definitely makes the Saints a lot scarier on an already explosive offense. So if Kamara comes back, that's going to open up. You got to guard both sides of the field now. So can't bring a safety down anymore.
Yeah, it's not the Michael Thomas show anymore, and it's basically been Michael Thomas. Everybody else goes straight. There was the Twitter video of Sean Payton reading off plays and stuff, which is basically he was calling like a go routes, like 5-man protection. Everyone goes straight. Michael Thomas go across the middle and find Michael Thomas. Those were the plays. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like obviously that like is Michael Thomas, and Michael Thomas is an absolute stud. I wouldn't be surprised if Manny drafted him first in our fantasy league. And why not? And he is incredibly good, especially with the amount of attention he gets, and he's still able to make all those plays. And now you give him a person that is not Teddy Rockhand Jin or just some like they have
some
Smith.
7th round scrub.
Yeah, you got like there's literally no one else. Their second best receiver for the most part was Taysom Hill. I mean,
a quarterback.
Yeah, and like come on, like you got to be kidding me with the amount of the lack of talent that they had. I mean, they have talent because they have Kamara. Their tight end's really good, but now you actually round it out with a receiver that is really good, and you
legit
put him in a dome.
Weapons.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be Emmanuel Sanders' first time playing in a dome, and he is one of the savviest route runners there is. He can run fast. If it wasn't for Jimmy G overthrowing him in the Super Bowl, the 49ers probably win that game. I'm not, not saying anything, but they probably win that game. So yeah, that's a big win. I'm gonna do a twofer just to wrap them up. Obviously, the Cardinals for reasons that I don't even have to explain. I mean, the fact that they fleeced Deshaun Watson. I don't even want to say any more about it because everybody has been talking about it. But I think the most low-key winner of the NFL free agency are the Colts. The Colts got pretty good under the radar player. They got Xavier Rhodes on a 1-year deal after he got just he just got taken out and tossed out by the Minnesota Vikings, and he is a 3-time Pro Bowler, and he's still like in his prime years. He's been hurt. Like their secondary has been hurt. All their safeties get all the credit, and their corners are just left out to fend for themselves, and they get all of the blame for everything that goes wrong. I think he's going to go to the Colts on a revamped defense that also they got DeForest Buckner, who is a top 3 defensive tackle in this league, and he is going to apply pressure, and he's going to make all the other linemen on that defense better. And they got Phillip Rivers. And yeah, Phillip Rivers played like crap last year, but at the very least, he's going to take shots that Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett did not last year. Like Brissett is like Mr. Safe. He basically is Teddy Bridgewater, and he wasn't taking all the shots down the field that for a fact Rivers is going to do. So
Okay, well, Frank Reich was not only Philip Rivers' quarterback coach
there you
in
go.
San Diego, he was the offensive coordinator in San Diego, so he knows what Philip Rivers can do for him. So
Exactly, and like
that's also a 1-year deal. So what do you have to lose?
exactly, it's a 1-year deal. Like they got a whole bunch of players who are going to be hungry that want to prove that they can still win. And on top of that, like T.Y. Hilton was hurt last year. Who was there?
Paris Campbell was hurt, and Paris Campbell is
Campbell.
fantastic.
Exactly. So like this
Haskins get drafted in the first round. Paris Campbell, you have a lot of. He's got a high ceiling. You're going to see a lot from Paris Campbell.
They have a top 5 offensive line. They got the best lineman in football, like Tom's favorite boy. And
Quentin Nelson.
yeah, exactly. And like this team is going to be legit. I think they're going to be really, really good. And their division, because they're in the same division as the Texans, sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, biggest losers. So I guess I'll just segue and take that into the biggest losers. And yeah, the Texans. I don't know what they were doing. I didn't want to talk about the Cardinals because they're the Texans are the reasons the Cardinals were one of the biggest winners. And like I seriously, it's one of those things where people don't appreciate general managers until you don't have a general manager. And Bill O'Brien has been taking crap, and it's been obvious that he should have been. And you just like the things that they have done this year. They let Clowney get away. They traded him away last year, so that doesn't count for this year. But the fact that they didn't get a deal for Laramie Tunsil, who they basically like gave like Miami all of their picks for Laramie Tunsil, and it was for Tunsil. It wasn't for anyone else. They just took Skinny Skills because why not? But Tunsil, he got that all the they gave away all those draft picks for Tunsil. They didn't get him under contract this year, so he has 1 year left on his contract. You basically give away the one of the best receivers. Like he's a future Hall of Famer already. He retires right now. DeAndre Hopkins is a Hall of Famer.
If I was having an all NFL draft right now and had to build a team, my first wide receiver is DeAndre Hopkins, and I've said that for the past 2 years.
For sure. And you have to like DJ Reader is gone. Like they didn't re-sign him. There are so many holes on this team now, and he didn't do anything to fill them.
That's actually what I was going to say was a great free agency signing by the Bengals was DJ Reader.
It is. It's great for both of them. And you know, like they overpaid. Who's the guy, Taylor?
Oh, we're talking about the Texans, Randall Cobb.
Yes. Yeah. Oh. So Randall Cobb gets he got a way too rich of a deal.
3 times what he's worth.
Yeah. So that's your replacement for DeAndre Hopkins, is a guy that's been a cast off of now 2 teams, and he played with 2 pretty good quarterbacks, and now that's your deal. So that's my loser. That's my big loser.
Well, and also you disenfranchised your franchise quarterback by that deal.
Exactly. Now Deshaun Watson probably wants out.
If you want to trade him, now other teams know that he's pissed off and he doesn't want to play there. So that puts the Texans at another disadvantage to negotiate. Everyone knows he wants out.
I mean,
you guys expect Watson to start as a Texan?
What's that, Manny?
You guys expect Watson to start the season as a Texan, or they're going to try to trade him?
If the Patriots want to compete this year, they'll trade for him. If the Patriots want to draft a quarterback next year and tank, then they won't.
The good thing about the Texans is that they have him for at least 2 more years. And Patrick Mahomes is going to get a gigantic deal a year early. So they're going to make sure they're going to pay him. And Deshaun Watson, same draft, like they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to do something to either trade him, and like they're probably going to trade. They have no choice because he doesn't want to be there anymore. He's not going to sign a long-term deal to play there unless they get rid of Bill O'Brien. So they're going to have to make a decision. They're going to have to make one fast. All right. So who's the second biggest loser?
You know, I actually have I'm looking over my notes. I have a good deal. I'm like Switzerland. I'm very middle of the road. I have a good deal here.
All right.
The Falcons getting Hayden Hurst from the Ravens for a 2nd and a 5th round pick. I think that's such a good deal for both teams because he was a first-round pick. And the Ravens, I'm sure that they drafted him in the first round a couple years.
They
I'm sure
did.
they would love him, but they don't need him. They have Mark Andrews and they got Boyle. Like he does, Lamar likes to throw to his tight ends, but they have tight ends, so they're not going to
This is
use him.
true.
They literally didn't use him the way I thought. I picked him in fantasy like early because I'm like I knew what he's capable of. Falcons lost Hooper, who I never thought was that good anyway. So now they have a really good receiving option. And the Ravens have a second and fifth round pick. I think that's a very good trade. It's fair value.
Yeah, I think the Falcons were in the middle of they're a rock and a hard place. They knew they couldn't afford Hooper, so they got someone on a rookie deal, and they had to. I think they overpaid for him because Hayden Hurst hasn't flourished because Mark Andrews was there.
Lamar has targets. First of all, they're a run-first team. They're best running team in the NFL, obviously. And when Lamar does go to his tight end, it's Mark Andrews.
This is true. This is true. All right, so other losers.
We definitely got my biggest loser would be Robbie Anderson, signing with the Carolina Panthers. You could tell Robbie Anderson definitely believes he's a wide receiver one on any given team. He's got that kind of confidence, so he expected that market to be very in demand. It really wasn't. The Jets wanted him back a little bit. Other than that, you didn't hear a whole lot of buzz around him. And then Carolina swooped in and picked him up, which is good because he is probably arguably the wide receiver one now over there, give or take if you like DJ Moore.
DJ Moore should be the number one.
He's a bad dude, definitely. He's a bad dude. Absolutely. But tell me, what's Robbie Anderson's number one skill? That'd be going long, right? The long ball.
Yeah, speed.
Big plays. I think he's probably got, in his career, 8 or 9 touchdowns going 50-plus yards.
Yeah.
Well, Cam Newton, who did throw the long ball back in the day, when he had 2 good arms, he's not there anymore. That new quarterback's Teddy Bridgewater, who tends to dunk and dime a lot. Doesn't throw the long ball a whole lot.
Absolutely. Teddy Bridgewater is the new version of Sam Bradford. Like, it's just seriously 2-3 yard passes and go down the field. I mean, like, and that's the thing too. Like Teddy Bridgewater, Tom Brady. I like, other than one's black and one's white, I can't tell the difference.
So I just think Robbie Anderson, it's gonna hurt, especially because it's, I think, a 2-year deal. So he's gonna be able to be hit free agency again, and those numbers won't pop.
No, absolutely not. You're on a team that I think most people are picking up to tank. So why do you want to go on a team that's going to tank?
Exactly.
And I want to bring up another receiver that thought he was hot stuff because he had like a couple of good years on teams that were performing well, and he was able to perform well for those teams. And then all of a sudden, like, just vanished into the ether, and that's Mike Wallace.
Oh, he's still playing?
No, he's not. Like, and that's the thing. Like he's older now, but like, he was hot stuff when he was in Pittsburgh.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, he was unstoppable. Like, he was Antonio before Antonio was there, and they were like, okay, bye, leave. Yeah. You can go now. And he went to Miami, got that huge deal, and disappeared.
Original divas at wide receiver. I mean, he was, with Pittsburgh, he was fantastic, and then he went to Miami and just kind of dropped off the cliff.
And what does he do? He runs real fast, straight in the line, and got open. And Ben, who still has a big arm, he threw in the ball and got it to him. And
that's a problem with college, is a lot of these players are like, oh my God, that receiver, look at his numbers. Most colleges have a very simple offense and 3 routes maybe if you're a wide receiver. And most of them, just go straight.
Yeah.
So it makes that drafting a wide receiver difficult. But you have to look at what they were asked to do in college other than run straight.
Yeah, and I will say, and this is maybe something that's good for Robbie Anderson, is Matt Rule is now the coach for the Carolina Panthers, and he was known to have very simple routes to say, go straight, and a quarterback will just throw it up to you.
Shit, he's going to draft Denzel Mims. Damn it.
He might. And I like, trust me, I think the 49ers got that 13th pick so they could draft a receiver like Denzel Mims, because he looks like Julio Jones to me. Like, he has that
draft, because I'm like a kid on Christmas. I just can't wait to open my presents.
I got one more loser that we didn't bring.
Yeah. Let's do one more loser.
Melvin Gordon, guys. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I don't
held up
know,
last
dude.
year.
I don't know. I think he's in a great situation. That
Shouldn't look
offense
that
is ready
high.
to pop, and
I
he's
mean,
got
the numbers
Lindsey.
that the numbers that really pop out to me is Melvin Gordon had, I think it was 18 attempts, rushing attempts on the 5-yard line or better, and
Mhm.
scored 6 times out of that. Philip Lindsay scored double that on the same amount of.
Because
Yeah.
Lindsey's game is they're like, oh, they're not going to let this little friggin' 5'8", 170-pound guy run the ball, and they do, and that's when he kills them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think Gordon is really going to benefit from playing with Lindsey because they complement each other. It's like when these Giants won that Super Bowl, it was Earth, Wind, and Fire. You had that committee that you didn't know how to prepare for because one is 6'6", 300 pounds, the other is 5'7", 150 pounds, and
Talking about Brandon Jacobs, I'm assuming.
yeah,
Yeah, hated him so much.
those are better days.
The one thing I will say is that Melvin Gordon came from a situation in San Diego where he was the number 1 running back, and then they had Austin Eckler, who Manny absolutely loves. That's your favorite running back, right, Manny?
Christ, I wish I
For
had
fantasy reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
And
That's Los Angeles Chargers, sir.
and the fact that they chose Eckler, their number 2, over their number 1, says a lot.
Well,
And now they're in a situation to where Philip Lindsay is their number 1. Like, he earned that job. He earned the number 1 spot over a couple high drafted
it
running
was
backs.
Royce Freeman was supposed to be the man.
Right.
And Lindsey was, I think, undrafted.
He was.
But it was that same situation where they did not expect it was a throwing down, so they didn't expect them to hand off to this tiny running back. He looks like a child. I'm like, oh my God, save that child! Let's get security out there.
Yeah, his afro,
It's
probably
like,
on a
you
good
watch
day wet.
Muggsy Bogues, like Muggsy Bogues on an NBA court. Oh my God, there's a child ran onto the court to protect him, and he just runs.
Yeah, and so you got and I absolutely love Philip Lindsay. Lindsay is the man, and he is their running back number 1, and Gordon is going to be in there. He's supposed to be their bruiser, and he doesn't run like a bruiser even in his best years. Like,
he runs like a guy who's your number 1 every down back who should carry the ball 20 times a game at least.
Right,
he can do that, but you throw Lindsey into that mix with those friggin' wide receivers that they have. I think they have good wide receivers now. They're going to get better. They're going to draft, as we'll see momentarily.
we'll see. Do you have
my quarterback that I wanted last year over Daniel Jones? I thought he was the best quarterback in the draft. Finally got a chance to show it when he got healthy.
That's true.
They're in a good place.
Okay, Tom is itching. So Manny, why don't you do Tom a favor and let's get him to the last topic.
Let's mock it up.
We're talking about our NFL draft 2020. So as you know, Roger Goodell stated that the draft is still happening, even though it's not happening in Vegas with the coronavirus concerns. But our analysts here will do a little snake draft, and each of them will draft who is coming out of this class with big names such as Joe Burrow, Chase Young, and there you go. We start out with Taylor, who makes the first pick on this NFL draft.
Well, thank you, Manny. It's a tough one here, The Cincinnati Bengals are going to be taking Joe Burrow, guys. Let's be honest. Local kid, 60 touchdowns, Heisman winner. They need to get a franchise quarterback in there. Got to build a foundation somewhere, and you got to start with the quarterback. So you can't miss on this. They're taking Joe Burrow.
No, they're not. Cincinnati is not as bad as people think they are. They do have a lot of injuries. They're Jonah Williams, who I was big on last year, didn't get to play last year.
Oh, absolutely. And Joe Mixon is one of the most underrated running backs.
Absolutely. Not in fantasy, because I pick him in fantasy every year, and he's fantastic. Behind a offensive line that wasn't that great, and quarterback play that wasn't that great. I mean, Andy Dalton showed up here and there and did some things. They're going to come out of this draft ready to compete.
Yeah, they are. They have lots of good. They don't have extra picks, but they have the first pick, and they have a high second pick. They're going to be, they're going to be good. They're not going to be competing at all this year for next year, but
Well, you're in the
especially
same division with Lamar and the Steelers defense, and the
right.
Browns might finally click if they do a couple things. That's a tough division.
Oh
But
yeah, I think the Browns. There's going to be another episode, but I think the Browns actually got real good in this offseason. They got real good last offseason, but I think they got like subtly better this offseason. Anyway, who has the second pick, Manny?
Second pick goes over Tom.
oh, damn it. These friggin' Redskins. Okay, so if the Giants had just lost this game to the Redskins towards the end of the season, this would be a different situation. But now the Redskins obviously get Chase Young, who has to be double teamed, and in a lot of cases, or in some cases in college, he was triple teamed. That disruptive. Um, I don't think I don't think they necessarily need a defensive end, but
They don't.
Chase Young.
Yeah, they have Montez Sweat. Kerrigan is still there, if I can remember.
Yeah, he's still there. And they have gaping. They have so many needs on that team. They literally. I don't think they have a guard on their roster. Like they need a.
They have Brandon Sheriff.
Is he still there? Oh, they franchised
Yep.
there. But they need a left tackle. Like their offensive line is garbage. It was pretty good, but it just fell to shit. Their secondary fell to shit. They have a lot of needs. If Miami offers them their 3 first-round picks for that, then they might have to consider it, and then they could probably go Isaiah Simmons, who's arguably that valuable of a defensive player, an impact player, or even Akuda. But I'll let you guys decide. But they're not going to pass on Chase Young.
Okay. Like, what about the speculation of Tua going to the Redskins?
Of them picking Tua?
Yeah. Is it fake? Is it
I
smoke?
don't buy it.
It's probably smoke.
I would doubt Redskins management wants to admit that they've missed out on Haskins already.
Yeah.
It makes them look terrible.
But
like
if
the
it
Josh
is
Rosen deal, managers don't like doing that.
If it is smoke, they could fleece Miami out of 3 first-round picks.
Oh, I would do that.
Yeah, I would do that too. Jesus Christ, the 3 picks they can get in the first round to play with their first round. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is bad, and he showed some things. Not a great team; it's a dysfunctional team to begin with, but he was able to show some things. Showed more mobility than I thought he had. So he, for 3 first-round picks and good first-round picks, they'll trade that to Miami.
Oh yeah, I mean, like there's usually teams like they offer smoke, so that lets me know that they're looking to trade this pick. They don't want it. They're trying to get the best deal possible, and like I feel like something's going to happen. But as of right now, Chase Young, your number 2 pick. All right, who's number 3, Manny?
That would be.
Over to you, Garrett. Who are the Detroit Lions going to pick in your opinion?
Oh man, the Detroit Lions are disappointing, and I think is as long as the fake Belichick is there, Patricia, they're not going to be good, and I don't think this will be an overdraft, but I really think they're going to get Jeffrey Okudah, and Okudah's he's a great corner. He's excellent, but I feel like they're going to put him in a whole bunch of spots that is going to be too much to ask for a rookie cornerback coming from a very talented Ohio State team, and then you're going to go to a really untalented Detroit Lion team.
Okay, well, that's a good point you made about the poor man's Belichick. Everyone who leaves the Patriots, the coaches, they want to recreate that, and that's where they get tripped up. Usually, they'll try and sign a lot of old Patriots players. But particularly, they're probably going to go Okudah because the Patriots game is man coverage.
Right.
And Okudah, like no one else in this draft, can do that. Him and maybe C.J. Henderson can really stick a player. He's actually fantastic, Okudah. So I agree with that. Probably
you get rid of Darius Slay, you gotta make a move like that.
And Patricia is a defensive guy.
Exactly.
So.
All right. So is it my pick again?
It is over to you again, Garrett, and let's see who you pick.
Wow.
So, as
so
our resident fan here, Tom, you better make sure Tom is happy with your 4th pick.
Right. And this is the thing. Like Tom didn't want this pick because it was too much pressure.
Yeah.
So I took this pick from him, and I think I'm going to make him happy with this pick. I'm going to pick. I think the second best player in this draft, bar none, is Isaiah Simmons.
Yes. Very good.
Like the Giants need an offensive line. They did very little in this off season to get any offensive line help, and Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, they need help in offensive line, but Simmons is too good to pass up. And I think that Joe Judge, another Patriot disciple,
Yes.
he is going to want defense more than offense, and you can literally put Simmons in there immediately and change what you're going to do as a franchise.
Yeah, I mean, he's too big, he's too fast, and he's
Yeah.
too versatile. He can cover, he could stick guys. Certainly tight ends. Forget a tight end. Most
Right.
teams are worried about having strong safeties that how you gonna, or a linebacker that has to cover a tight end. Oh my God, you're gonna get killed. No, Simmons can handle that and more, and he can get after the quarterback. But certainly his speed. I'm still not sure what kind of defense the Giants want to run. 3-4, 4-3. I would love to see him at middle linebacker. He'd be just.
Sideline to sideline. That's
Yeah,
cool.
sideline to sideline. So.
Yeah. The one thing, and this is the one reason why I didn't have Jeffrey Simmons as possibly the best player. I think he might be better than Chase Young, because I saw Chase Young take plays
You said
off.
Jeffrey Simmons, which is a good comparison.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a good comparison.
Isaiah Simmons, yes. The only reason I didn't have him higher is because he never had to play middle linebacker, so he's never been that play caller. I think he'll need some time to get there, but I mean, this kid is good, and like I was like kind of like before the combine happened, and thank goodness the combine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't always like to put too much into the combine, but sometimes it reafirms some
Right.
things. Like
Definitely.
Jesus Christ, his math.
It's like you see this guy
Size.
on tape, and then it was like, dude, he did all that, and then like he did all that, and then he went to the combine and just absolutely blew it up, and like just like surpassed everyone's expectation, which is ridiculous. He ran what I think he had like the 5th fastest combine time, the 40
It
time.
was fast because he's tall. He's like 6'3". He's got long legs. So that's
Yeah.
gonna help.
So yeah, I Isaiah Simmons for sure, number 4 pick. So who's next, Manny?
Over to you, Tom. Who will the Miami Dolphins pick at number 5?
They're not gonna. There are people talking about them trading up for Tua and giving away like all those draft picks that you never get. You never get 3 first-round draft picks. I'm not giving that up. They can get Tua at 5. They're going to take Tua at 5. I think his health is going to be fine because he's had his doctors look at him. I've seen interviews with him. He looks fine. Because of Corona, teams probably aren't going to be able to poke and prod his body the way they want to. But I think that everyone is confident that he's going to recover from hip injury. And if it wasn't for that hip injury, you'd still be talking about him versus Burrow. And you look at Tua play. He throws just darts. He's throwing darts all over the field at will. He's quick. He's everything you want in a quarterback. He has enough mobility despite the hip injury. He stays with plays, which is why he got the hip injury. But he doesn't give up on plays, and he just throws these darts. So the ball comes out of his hand so fast. It gets to the receiver so fast. That's what you need. They're not going to mess around with the 5th pick. It's Tua.
All right.
All right, Taylor, at number 6, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. Who do you think they'll be drafting?
Well, it's debatable whether they'll be reaching or not, but they have one glaring need now that their quarterback of the last almost 2 decades, Phillip Rivers, is now elsewhere.
2 decades.
I got them taking Justin Herbert from Oregon.
All right.
It seems to fit their style for having a tree as a quarterback that can't move a whole lot.
Herbert's pretty mobile.
He can move. I'm teasing him a little bit. But he seems to fit their forte.
Okay.
Yeah, I think first of all, his legs are underrated. He is a very good runner. I have only one problem with Justin Herbert, and it's the fact that his offensive line is so damn good. You're going to have 3 of those offensive linemen in the NFL draft, and all 3 I think are going to be starting players this coming year. And he has his left tackle, who's still there, is in conversation for the Heisman coming up this year as a tackle, which never happens. And I think I told Garrick earlier today, I think he's going to be a top 3 pick next year. Nice, well. So that he had an amazing offensive line. So did Joe Burrow. So did Tua. I mean, when you're playing at that level in college, those teams, you should. And I think San Diego, call them San Diego, but the Chargers, they do have a decent offensive line. But let's see how he does in the NFL with more pressure and maybe an offensive line that isn't as good as we had in college.
The Chargers have said that they're deciding on Tyrod Taylor as their starting QB.
He should be. He should be. He's more experienced. I'm not a fan of putting rookie quarterbacks out there week 1. I don't even like them playing in the first year.
It'll be more week 6, week 8 if it happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's a position you really have to sit and watch, hold the clipboard, and just kind of listen in on those quarterback conversations with the coach and make sure that you're ready to go out there. It's like a boxer going into the ring. Before they're ready, you're going to get knocked the fuck out. Like, you really have to be ready before you put in that situation.
And that's the thing, like, how good would Patrick Mahomes have been if he didn't literally have a whole year plus to sit down, wait, like, for his turn?
Yeah.
I think that's a big deal. When they rush quarterbacks out there, it affects their psyche. So like, it's good if you can sit there and, like, I feel bad for Tyrod. He's just like, Mr. I'm keeping the secret.
No, Tyrod is a good quarterback. I liked him in Buffalo. I had him on my fantasy team when he was with the Browns. You know, he just got injured and then came in Baker. But Tyrod is a competent quarterback to learn from, and we'll see what he can do with that team. He's an NFL-ready quarterback, Tyrod. So he's not going to – it's his job. And I don't think they want to throw Justin Herbert out there. I love the pick, and I think that they want to see what they can make of him, and they probably will make something of him. But yeah, don't throw him out there week 1.
Okay, all right. So Manny, whose pick is it next?
Continuing with our snake draft, it is back to Taylor. Number 7, the Carolina Panthers.
The Carolina Panthers, they got needs on that defensive front, and
yes,
honestly, if we were doing this a few weeks ago, I wouldn't have expected him to be here, but he's way too talented to pass up here. I'm going to take Derek Brown from Auburn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He shores up that middle of that defensive line real nice for the Panthers. Honestly, I was hoping that Simmons would slide to Carolina there. With the absence of Kuechly suddenly retiring, they have a big hole to be the captain of that defense. But there's no linebacker here worthy of a pick this good, so you got to take best available. And honestly, he's in a spot of need as well. So Brown from Auburn definitely fits that.
If the Giants pick a tackle and offensive lineman with their pick, then Simmons, I think it falls to the Panthers.
I don't like
it's easily a possible scenario.
I don't see Simmons falling. Like he is, like, I would say top 5, but there's no way the Dolphins are going to pass up. Yeah, like, it's almost one of those things. Is like even the Chargers would even take Simmons if he was available.
Look what the Broncos. The Broncos passed on Drew Lock a couple of times, even though they wanted him, but they passed on him twice. So,
they passed on him twice and traded back up to get him later, which was crazy.
Yeah.
So Derek Brown he's a beast. He did not perform well in the combine. I feel like now
that's why he's dropping.
Yeah.
But that's why I don't like the combine, because it doesn't necessarily. It's not all that indicative of how they're going to play. Derek Brown
is true.
Technique. He has technique. I'll take technique over how high you can jump vertically. I'm not going to ask the guy to jump vertically. I'm going to ask him to stop the run. Mm-hmm. I don't care how his long jump is.
This is true. And that's the thing, like, Derek Brown proved in playing in the SEC, especially being the best player on that defense, it proved that he was really good. And I compared him to Geno Atkins. Like, is just a guy who can just get up there, cause disruption. He's not going to be that guy that's going to get sacks or anything, but he's going to cause havoc in the middle, and he's going to be a big body you can use to, like, stuff plays and everything like that. So, Manny, who's up next?
Up next is Tom, and number 8, the Arizona Cardinals.
All right. Well, that is convenient. Cardinals, in my own personal mock, I have them taking Jedrick Wills to play. I have him to play right tackle. Everyone is saying he can move to guard and probably will move to guard, and that's fine too. But the Cardinals have all the offensive weapons in the world, and that's the only thing missing is their offensive line. Their offensive line is terrible. Jedrick Wills is, I think I have him on my own personal mock as the top offensive lineman in the draft. Not only do they have DeAndre Hopkins and then Christian Kirk, who was, I think, a second round pick last year, maybe a first.
Yeah, he was a second round pick.
Oh no, last year was
Kyler.
Hakeem Butler, who I had.
Third round
he was
pick.
my number one wide receiver in that whole draft, and they got him.
And I like Isabella too. I mean, they are
Isabella, and they have Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald, who won't go away. So just protect them. And you saw what Kenyon Drake could do on that team at running back. Give him a block and see what he can do. He did great things, more than any other running back ever did. Well, not ever, but in the past couple of years before David Johnson got hurt. So that team has all the offensive weapons in the world. Just beef up that offensive line and let them do their thing. They were in a lot of those games last year because of their offense.
Yeah, the fact that they have a first round pick is just jaw dropping. How do you get DeAndre Hopkins instead of a first round pick, like the number 8 overall pick? Makes no sense. All right, who's pick?
Over to you, Garrett, number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Jaguars. Oh man, like this is another team that's just I think they're in full tank mode, and I don't even know what they'll do here because they just have so many needs right now, and all of the really good defensive players are taken, except there's one guy that I think would actually come there and make a difference day one, and at least be good up front, where they're good on defense with last year's pick, the non-quarterback. Oh my gosh, what's his name? Josh Allen.
Oh,
there
Josh
it
Allen.
is. So I'm gonna say Javon Kinlaw.
Oh, you better. Jesus.
Yeah. Kinlaw is one of those things. Is like at least be good at something, and this is the only thing that the Jaguars can be good at is their defensive line.
Okay, I compare him to Chris Jones, I think. And
Absolutely.
I put him ahead of Derek Brown only because he can do a little bit more because of his height, and I've seen him tip balls all the time. I've seen him block a kick. I think he's faster than Derek Brown. So no, Javon Kinlaw they have to take him there. I think he's the best overall player at this point, so they have to take him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, is it my pick again, Manny?
Yep, we still continue to snake. Number 10, the Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns. Manny knows if Browns are like my sort of kind of second favorite team, and I still love Baker Mayfield.
You just love Baker Mayfield. That's
Baker is the man. I'm still high on Baker, and they did a lot this offseason to make themselves even better. I don't know why they got Austin Hooper because they had a good tight end already. Yeah. But they're going to shore up the offensive line. They got one side. They got Jack Conklin on the one side, and now they're going to get Tristan Wirfs on the other side. And it just makes too much sense. Like they have to get offensive line, and they're going to get one of the better offensive linemen in this draft.
No, that Wirfs is versatile enough to move on the offensive line.
Right, and they can put him anywhere.
Yeah, they get pretty other than center, which I don't think he's played center, but to be able to move all over the offensive line, I knew by maybe week 3 or 4 in the college season that he was going to move up the charts. His strength, like I've seen him just when he makes contact with defensive linemen, he's so strong. I see that they fall to the ground because he's so strong. So I mean, I wouldn't be. I'm not going to hate if the Giants took him at number 4. I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah,
he's a different maker.
Right.
All right. I think Gardner Minshew has a lot of potential. That could be the man there. So why not give him some protection?
This is true, but like I think they're in full tank mode. Like Jacksonville, I think
they let their defense. They let that championship defense, the defense that could have brought them a Super Bowl on its own. With Blake Bortles at quarterback, they let that fall to shit. It's gone. It's gone. Calais Campbell is gone, which was another great trade by the
straight fleeced
for a 5th round pick.
That's ridiculous.
Christ,
the rich get richer. That makes no sense. Okay, who got the next pick, Manny?
Over to you, Tom. Now we know you have your New York Giants gear on, but you're actually picking for the New York Jets here.
Oh.
Am I picking for the Jets or the? Oh yes, I am. Oh god damn it. Drink. Jesus. They need so much, and I think I'm going to have to, on the fly, change because I have my original mock where I have, like a lot of people, I have them taking wide receiver. I had them taking Judy. I think this is the team I was thinking of earlier that doesn't have a guard on their friggin' roster. Their offensive line is decimated.
It's pretty bad.
It's decimated, and they invested a lot in Sam Darnold, the number 2 overall. Oh no,
It's number 3.
we picked Saquon, but first round pick, high first round pick. I think they have to go offensive line. I think they're going to go Andrew Thomas at left tackle.
Wow. All
He's
right.
extremely polished. Everyone's talking about Mekhi Becton, who came on my radar late in the college season. I'm like, holy shit, this guy is. I think his a lot of people compare him to Shaquille O'Neal for his athleticism.
Yeah.
Mekhi Becton, and he is, but I just think he's not polished enough for the NFL yet. I'm happy with him, not at number in my pick, but Andrew Thomas is very polished. I would say extremely polished at left tackle, which I think is the most desirable.
No.
Or just go Andrew Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to.
All right.
Right. So over back to Taylor, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, who will be moving from Oakland to Sin City.
Well, the Raiders, they have their shiny new running back who's a bona fide star already.
Yes, he is.
They need a bona fide weapon on the outside, so I got them taking Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama.
Excellent pick.
Just makes a lot of sense for him. He's got a high ceiling, and he's ready to contribute week 1. I think he's a plug-and-play player. Makes a lot of sense here.
Okay, his ceiling, I don't think we've seen his ceiling because at Alabama, they were blowing people out. So they were pulling him early.
Oh.
And they have like 4 wide receivers that if they all came into the draft this year, all 4 of them are first-round picks. Devontae Smith, I think, is the one who broke records there because they had to pull Judy because they were blowing teams out by the half. So, like, okay, let the young players play, like Jalen friggin' Waddle, who is faster than
Waddle is insane.
He's, oh, my God. He's going to be an early first-round pick when he's eligible.
That's the funny thing is that Waddle might be faster than Ruggs.
He is. Oh, Christ have mercy.
He is.
Look at him returning those kicks. He's so fast. He's freshman. So, no, Judy, I think the best is yet to come because he didn't play as much as he would have. If they were in dogfights, Judy would be he would have put up incredible numbers. No, definitely a good pick. I went back and forth with Judy and Lamb, and the reason I put Lamb ahead is because I'm like, well, Judy wasn't, tested that much, but that just means he has a higher ceiling.
Yeah, it's another Alabama player because Josh Jacobs, another player that they just had so much talent at running back the year before last. Mm-hmm. And Jacobs was like the 3rd player, and then you got Judy, he was their number 1, but they had so much talent around him that he didn't get an opportunity to showcase.
But Jacobs paid off, and I knew he would because he didn't have a lot of miles on him.
Exactly.
Judy, that just means he took less hits, which is good. Why not? That's a very safe pick. So yeah, I like that very much.
All right, so like Taylor gets to double up, and he's picking for the 49ers.
At number 13, the San Francisco 49ers, and the reason being they had traded to the Colts DeForest Buckner, so now the Niners have this pick.
That hurt.
I'm gonna have to double dip on receivers here. They need a weapon opposite of Deebo Samuel. I got them taking Henry Ruggs out of Alabama.
Oh, whoa!
Wow! I think that's my first absolute shocker.
Elated.
It's not that shocking.
He reminds me a little bit of Santana Moss, man.
Oh,
I like how he plays. Santana Moss is a bad boy, so.
Giants had Santana Moss's little brother, Sonoris Moss, and I liked him.
Ruggs is one of those guys that I think he's going to be an absolute boomer bust. Like he
depends on the team. I think the only reason I don't like him for the 49ers is because I think their offense is too conservative. I think he needs a Ben Roethlisberger in his prime, someone who's going to throw him that ball deep. Otherwise, what's the point? It's arguably Henry Ruggs could be the best or the top wide receiver in this draft if he goes to the right team.
I think the 49ers could do good. Like you saw what Shanahan was able to get out of Julio Jones when he was in Atlanta. So there's opportunity there. The question, and I think that they schemed up a lot of stuff, but they didn't have a lot of deep speed on the 49ers. They had Sanders, he's fast, but he's not like a burner. They had Marquise Goodwin, who,
Got
he's a
benched.
burner. Yeah, he's a burner, but like,
Yeah,
like he was having other issues and stuff to where he couldn't like get on the field. So like Ruggs is one of those guy, young, hungry burner. I'm okay with this.
that is extremely dangerous in that situation because they're the second best running team in the league next to the Ravens. So let's say you're 3rd and 2, and the defense is thinking, okay, they're going to run it.
For the run.
Right.
Then you see Henry Ruggs going out, in motion,
Right.
super wide, and you're like, holy shit, everybody go deep. Like, that's dangerous.
Mhm.
Exactly.
No,
And
I like it.
that's one thing. Like you got Debo Samuels running in motion behind the quarterback, doing one of those runs, and then you got Henry Ruggs just running one of those like cross routes. Like and like you have to keep your safety back because you have to respect that speed.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm dealing with this.
Henry Ruggs is a bad man.
So at number 14, Tom, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm very happy. I don't hate Tom Brady because I beat the shit out of him twice, personally. So I only want what's best for him. And in my own personal mock, I specifically gave him Mekhi Becton to play left tackle. Because Tom Brady's game, he loves those check down passes. He loves to go to his running back. He loves to, just to dink and dunk. He does love that. Mekhi Becton at left tackle, with his athleticism and his size, he always runs downfield. And I saw him do this at Louisville quite often because they were doing that at Louisville, the dink and dunks. He is always running downfield in front of the running back. He's up for 6'7". I don't know how much he weighs, but this guy's huge and incredibly strong. He always goes out with the running back, blocking for his running back. That's if they get Mekhi Becton, that is a friggin' dangerous team. That's a dangerous combination, and they're going to get their receiving running back probably in this draft. They probably should have signed Deion Lewis. The Giants got him for some reason, but it made more sense
because Joe Judge. That's why.
Oh, fucking Patriots coaches, man! What are you do? You can't just get it out of your system. I Mekhi Becton. I'd be as a fan of football. I want Mekhi Becton to go to Tampa Bay and protect Brady's blind side and be there for his check down passes.
Yeah, well, the minute they signed Brady, they basically just wrote in stone that they were taking an offensive tackle, and they're pitching high enough to where they'll get one of the big four. So, yeah, like that's definitely going to happen. Whoever's left, and that's the last of the big four. Like I'm actually shocked that he's the last one to go, but. Definitely.
Some people are saying the only reason I don't like him earlier is the word I'll use is polish. He's not as polished. He doesn't have the technique of an Andrew Thomas. He's got the athleticism. He's got more athleticism than maybe all of them.
Oh, absolutely. He's the strongest one. He proved that he was the fastest one.
I knew that again, and that's why I like him because he will go out there with the running back and he'll protect the running back when he gets those check down.
Absolutely.
So over to you, Garrett. You have number 15 and 16, but let's start with number 15, the Denver Broncos.
The Denver Broncos. So the Denver Broncos, they're a weird team, and I think this is going to be one of those cases where it's the best available. I personally, I think the Broncos would have done really nice to get Henry Ruggs, and I was going to pick them. I was going to pick him going to the Broncos because they have their stud that can catch passes. What's the name of the receiver for the Broncos?
Lindsay.
Sutton.
Oh,
yes,
sorry.
Sutton. Yes. Yeah, like Sutton is he is your every down. I'm going to catch the ball. I think
he's like 6'4", 6'5", and
right.
No, he's an absolute beast.
Like he's going to be like Michael Thomas Jr. and he's that guy that's going to be catching your passes like time in and time out. But it got to the point to where CeeDee Lamb fell this far. There's no way you can't take CeeDee Lamb.
I agree, and I think that both of them, Portland and CeeDee, both could benefit from a compliment.
Right.
I know, first of all, you have Noah Fant, who is the next Gronkowski. I don't think they utilized him enough last year, and that's going to change this year because that guy is an amazing receiver.
He had the dropsies last year, and I think he really came on, especially when Drew Lock started. He really came on.
Yeah, it was later in the year, and it was Drew Lock. Definitely.
Yeah, and like they started finding ways to give him the ball because he's an absolute talent when he has the ball in his hands. He's fast. They started giving him the ball on tight end sweeps and those shovel passes and stuff like that. Uh, and like once he starts, like if he's working, like he should be spending his whole like lockdown, shutdown, stay at home period like with Stickum on his hands, just catching everything.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Evan Ingram from the Giants is a similar player who is getting tight end sweeps, which is crazy. He's so athletic, had the dropsies, and I think Ingram was able to improve on his hands. That's something you can teach. You can teach hands. Just
Oh yeah,
keep
absolutely.
the fucking ball until they catch the goddamn ball. Like you can teach that. The other things you can't teach. So I think Fant with Cortland Sutton and a CD friggin' Lamb. And I actually like their other receivers they have in depth. Trey Patrick, Deshaun Hamilton, who they got from Penn State a couple years ago. Like they have talent. Adding CD to that mix is dangerous.
Absolutely.
They're in a good
Absolutely.
spot.
At
Okay.
number 16, we have the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay, and I think I'm going to make another controversial pick, and I think this is probably the most underrated player that has come out in a long time, and it makes no sense that he is underrated, and that's Jonathan Taylor.
Ooh, wow. I love Jonathan Taylor. It's early for Jonathan Taylor, but I love Jonathan Taylor.
It makes no sense. I mean, like he is probably like he's only played 3 seasons of college football, and he is like ranked number 4 all time in rushing yards and touchdowns, like for running back, and he's done it time and time again. And then for the combine, he absolutely blew it up. Like he proved that he put up Saquon numbers.
No,
He put
and he specifically went out of his way to be able to work on catching the ball because he knew
Yeah.
that he needed to add that part of his game. And for the Falcons, that's a perfect fix. They don't have a running back. So they're very
Exactly.
good.
Okay, over at number 17, Tom, you gotta be fair here again. We have
Let me down.
Taylor's team, the
I'll let you
Dallas
down.
Cowboys.
I'm going to be fair because they lost their center. And I give the Cowboys all the credit in the world for taking first-round picks for I don't know how many. It seems like forever. Their first-round pick was offensive lineman. They built an incredible offensive line to the point where when Zeke was ready to come out in the draft, they could have that luxury of having that kind of a running back.
Right.
They have to replace their center. Personally, in my personal opinion, Tyler Biadasz from Wisconsin is the best center in this draft, and I knew it from before the season started, and he is. But where I think that the draft is going to fall, if they're taking a center here, it's probably going to be Cushenberry from LSU,
Oh.
based on what he did for that team. He's a champion. They were able to use the protect quarterback. They were still able to run the ball with a smaller running back. Zeke is not a small running back, so he can do everything that a center needs to do. They need a polished center who's ready to start week 1 because they don't have one. So I think that's Cushenberry.
I actually like that pick. It's not sexy, and offensive linemen.
Offensive linemen are never sexy. It's just not.
That's like they're not sexy, but most times they're not. They're the most important.
All right. I just drank a whole bottle of wine, so I'm gonna have to take a break for a second. You guys continue. I'll be right back.
All right.
So you, Taylor, you have number 18 and number 19. Let's start out with number 18, and we have the Miami Dolphins, and
There we go.
being that trade with Minka Fitzpatrick last year with the Steelers, and
That's still a win because Minka Fitzpatrick is worth 2 of those picks.
Well, oddly enough, they got to replace Minka Fitzpatrick, pick up a safety here. Going to take the best available safety in the draft. Honestly, I liked Grant Delpit in the beginning, but his tackling was suspect all year. And the Raiders need someone that can clean everything up on the back half of that defense. So they're going to be taking Xavier McKinney from Alabama.
That is definitely a good pick. Xavier McKinney, he fits more of that mold. They need somebody who's going to be down in the box, and they got two good corners now. And now you need to clean up that. Like now you got someone who can come up, step in the box, and
help out on the run support. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So Tom, Xavier McKinney to the Dolphins.
Ooh.
Oh, he didn't hear. Did you hear?
So what did they miss?
Xavier McKinney to the Dolphins.
Excellent pick. That guy, I watched a lot of Alabama because they showed on TV so much. it feels like every play on defense, it was, tackle by McKinney, tackle by McKinney, tackle by McKinney. So that tackling machine, he's all over the field. So that's fantastic pick.
Yeah.
At number 19, Taylor, you have the Las Vegas Raiders.
I hate to do this, guys. Let's backtrack here. Who did the Broncos take?
Who did?
He gave them CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, that's who it was. Okay, just making sure. The Raiders got a need for a good corner. I definitely need C.J. Henderson as a good fit over there.
I
press man
love C.J. Henderson,
and so that's who Chucky over there likes. A good press man corner that'll get in your face a little bit, and C.J. Henderson seems to fit that bill pretty good.
Okay.
Fast. He reminds me of Janoris Jenkins.
Exactly.
His criticism is he can't tackle. He's smaller, but because he's smaller, guess what? He's going to stick you. So you're probably not going to catch the ball, so he's not going to tackle you. I love C.J. Henderson. Love them all year.
I'm actually shocked. C.J. Henderson is like 6'1".
Is he?
Yeah.
He looks tiny. He looks small out there. Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's like 6'1", 203,
Wow. That's
or 203 pounds.
Like that size. Jesus. I had no idea. He plays. He looks like he's freaking small because he's so fast.
Because all them Florida boys are huge.
Wow, maybe.
All right, Tom, over to you at number 20. As you know, this trade last year that went out between this team and the Rams, and now the Jacksonville Jaguars have another first-round pick.
Wow. I originally had them taking Kenneth Murray, but that was only because Zach Bond was gone, and I think they're rebuilding their defense. And I think Zach Bond. I've watched so much Wisconsin just because I was looking at I like their offensive line. I was looking at Jonathan Taylor, and I'm like, oh my God, this Zach Bond showing me things as an outside linebacker. I thought he was a defensive end at one point. Just kind of watching him passing because he's just getting after the quarterback. He's an outside linebacker. He's so athletic. He can cover. He can cover tight ends. And I think he's better than Kenneth Murray. So I think if you're rebuilding a defense, you want Zach Bond from Wisconsin.
All right. I mean, Bond is definitely good. He's come I'm a big proponent in like factory schools. Like if you want a tight end, you want to draft Iowa. If you want a corner or it's like some kind of DB, you're going to go LSU or OSU. And this is linebacker and running back central is Wisconsin. Like you're not going to get a bad linebacker out of Wisconsin, like most times out of not. So a good pick.
All right, Garrick, you have picks 21 and 22. First, let's start off with 21, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly. So who do I have going to the Eagles? I mean, they obviously need a receiver. I mean, that's just hands down. But they also have other needs, and this is just a super deep wide receiver class. And the other need they have in corner, there's only one like true number one corner left, and it's Trayvon Diggs. And I think they just can't pass him up.
Yes. I mean, I'm worried because their biggest need is wide receiver. I'm worried that they take Henry Ruggs. That's the one player I don't want them to take. So I don't want to have to guard him personally. But Trayvon Diggs is very high on my list of cornerbacks. I this whole college season trying to keep a running mock going. I couldn't tell who was the best cornerback in this draft. It wasn't until very late that Okudah, I think, separated himself.
Absolutely.
I had Trayvon Diggs as I said flip a coin between like 4 or 5 of these cornerbacks in football. C.J. Henderson, of course, one of them. And I think you can't go wrong. He's a big dude.
He is. He's a former wide receiver.
Well, his brother is Stephon.
Exactly.
I like it.
Number 22, because of the trade that went down with Stephon Diggs going. I
was just about to say, perfect segue.
That's why
I totally did that on purpose.
The Minnesota Vikings now have this first-round pick.
All right, so the Vikings. Who do the Vikings take? Because it would have been just perfect if they got. Because now they're just they've gotten destroyed at corner because they let.
I still had them taking Trayvon. I had them taking him all along. Like, oh, it'd be cool to play with his brother. But even though his brother is gone, like he still would have fit there. He would have been the Xavier Rhodes replacement.
Right. And since they like let a lot of their outside talent, both at on defense at cornerback and on offense at wide receiver, and they're going to need somebody that can do something in that offense. Like they only have Thielen left, who's not a burner. I think they're going to end up taking, and this is going to be somewhat of a stretch, and I think they're going to reach for a fast burner receiver in Brandon Ayuk.
Oof.
Wow.
He is fast. He is fast.
Yes.
He's smaller, but yeah, he's right up there with maybe the top 3 fastest receivers. I would go maybe Ruggs, Rager, and Ayuk.
I do think Ayuk just has like something about him. Like he just seems like he's a little bit hungrier than the rest of them. I think that he'll come there and he'll flourish in the system. He is a smaller guy and he looks like a slot corner, but I think he has a little bit of like that digs to him to where he's gonna like try to dominate. He's gonna like he's gonna play with a chip on his shoulder.
I mean, it's that, and Arizona isn't a small school, but he's not in the SEC. Like that's the only reason I don't have him higher. But yeah, he is friggin' fast. So yeah, if you want a fast receiver moving good hands, then yeah, it's Ayuk.
Yeah, and he was playing under N'Keal Harry for a long time, and that offense finally started getting good because they got a good. Arizona's quarterback is going to be fantastic when he starts playing. Arizona State, I should say.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, over to number 23. Bill Belichick led the Patriots.
There's a good chance they're in rebuild mode. Even if they're not, they have to. Either way, they have to address left tackle. So it's Josh Jones, Houston.
Yeah, I can see that.
Wow, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a very good draft class, and there are left tackles that are still there. I mean, as far as talent, first round talent, it's Josh Jones. I mean, Brady, I think the big reason he left is because they couldn't. Not only couldn't his receivers get separation, he didn't have time to throw the ball, didn't have protection, and left the blind side. The Patriots have been trying to address blind side for a long time. It wasn't until Nate Solder left, who wasn't that. I don't think it was that good to begin with. So yeah, they've been looking for a left tackle for a long time, and Josh Jones.
All right.
Yeah. Right, over to Taylor with the number 24 and 25 picks. Number 24, the New Orleans Saints.
Well, the Saints we know are going to be competing for the NFC this year.
Yeah,
absolutely. They have a gaping hole in the middle of their defense. They need themselves a linebacker. So I see them taking Patrick Queen out of LSU.
Ooh, wow.
Is Kenneth Murray still on the board?
Yes, he is.
Oh, boy. I love Patrick Queen. But, yeah, that's –
you got a local boy, national champion, and he was the captain of that defense outside of Delpit. I could see him leading the Saints on that defensive line for the next decade or so.
I mean, Queen moved up the draft boards into the first round talk, fairly recently. But I've seen him stand guys up on the goal line like he's that kind of linebacker.
Yeah, he's smaller and like he got hurt during the combine, didn't he?
Yeah, he pulled up during the 40, I believe.
Yeah, and I think he actually he got hurt to the point where he couldn't even do his pro day. But no one's really doing the pro day anymore. Yeah. It's like Patrick Queen, I had as my best middle linebacker. I had him over. I had him over Kenneth Murray. I feel like Kenneth Murray is one of those guys that he was the best person on a bad defense, and he's good, but it's almost like you stand out more when you're on a bad defense.
True. And vice versa, where there are some players on Clemson's defense and LSU's defense that are under the radar just because they're outshined by other players.
Exactly.
Right, at number 25, Taylor, we have, again, the Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings. Oh, yeah, obviously. The Minnesota Vikings, going to have to double dip with the back-to-back LSU players here. Got a player that was actually in my top 16, I believe.
Oh, boy.
In my big board and still on the board, I'm going to take Christian Fulton out of LSU.
Oh, yep. Yeah, I knew you were doing that, and that's a big need too.
It's a need, and he's one of those players. Like I said, I had 5 cornerbacks. I'm like, I don't know. Throw a dart on the board. I don't know which one is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely
A lot of them are outshined by Stingley, the redshirt freshman.
Yes.
So, but Fulton's got some press man talent over there. So
Yeah.
Very
I
good.
think he'll do good over there.
The one thing that made him look bad, and is not his fault, is that he played Clemson in a championship game,
Yeah.
and they were just going back and forth. And the Clemson corner, Mullins, like he really got just destroyed in that game.
By
But
Jefferson.
yeah, like that's the thing. It's like both of these teams are so talented. Like you're gonna get beat. Corners get beat. That's what happens. Like Richard Sherman got beat. Like it just happens. But for 9 times, like most times are not, like you're gonna do good, especially if you're in the right system. And yeah, I think.
Well, I was going to say sometimes it's not their player's fault. If the defensive coordinator calls a certain thing and you do what they tell you to do and you get burned, it's not necessarily your fault that you're out of position or you're expecting something else.
And
I love
you can't keep up with T. Higgins anyway, so you're gonna get burned if you play against Clemson every now and then.
Exactly. Like Clemson is just they had way too much talent. They have a generational quarterback.
Mhm.
Same thing with LSU is like generational quarterback. Like he's like Joe Burrow like is just the real deal. And like like especially you got a hot team with all that talent and you're playing in a dome, you're going to get beat. And it's unfortunate for these corners to have to go through that. And then like they're just on tape for everyone to see them getting burnt, and it's not their fault.
Right, over to you, Tom, at number 26, the Miami Dolphins.
The Dolphins. So they're sort of in rebuild. They're sort of not, because I think that these 3 first-round picks, and they had good free agency, I think they can compete. They need a running back. DeAndre Swift. I'm not, even though I was begging the Giants to take Saquon number 2 overall. I'm not a big fan of taking running backs in the first round. I'm certainly not a big fan of taking them early. But DeAndre Swift is worth a first-round pick because he can do things on his own. And that's what I look for in a first-round running back is can he do things without blocks? Does he have the footwork? Can he find the holes? And if there are no holes, can he get outside? It's DeAndre Swift. He can catch the ball. He can do everything. He's a weapon that they're going to need. If they take Tua or not, they're still going to need that threat at running back. I think they can't risk waiting until the second round to take Swift.
Right. I mean, like, did you see what happened to the Dolphins running game last year? I mean, they traded away.
Drake.
Yeah, they traded away Drake. They had they were down to like their 7th round pick, who was the kid from Washington last year.
They had a white person not named McCaffrey at running back. Like,
oh yeah, like I forgot what their running back situation was, but it was bad. It was bad. And the kid from Arizona State that they drafted not too long, Ballage, he's a bust. And their situation was bad. I think if you're that bad at a position, and I feel like running backs don't get enough credit, especially good ones. And like Swift is going to be a good running back. And if you got 3 picks in the first round, and you have an opportunity to take a running back that can immediately help your franchise, do it.
No, the first thing I do if I have to evaluate a running back is I look at their tape and I see like, okay, yeah, he ran for 30 yards, but was it because someone was blocking for him, the whole freaking way, or is it because he made a sick move? And that's the only running back I had ahead of him, I think, was Najee Harris from Alabama, who isn't coming out. Who can do those things. But DeAndre is definitely a weapon. He's dangerous. He's somebody you have to worry about. Like, oh shit, I hope they don't hand off to DeAndre Swift. So you have to take him here.
Yeah.
All right, we're nearing the end here, guys. Over at number 27 and number 28. First at number 27, Garrick hates this team, but you gotta pick. Seattle Seahawks.
The Seahawks, I think they were kind of hoping and wishing one of these good corners were still on the board. I don't really see another cornerback that they could take. But I think they actually might take a chance, and they're going to go with this kid from Auburn who has been moving up the draft board. And I'm not even going to, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to pronounce his name, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. His name is Noah Egne.
Okay, we know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he's been moving up the board. I think that he would be decent. They need defensive help in general, especially in that secondary. And I think he could be one of they really need corner help, and he's going to be a tough physical player that they they could really use to like try to keep up, especially with all these receivers in Arizona.
Well, the Niners just got Henry Rugg, so shit. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
No,
And Taylor.
I don't know how Seattle did so well last year because their secondary really was bad. I mocked them, Christian Fulton, because I think their biggest need is the secondary is not good. And I like that kid. Yeah, I can't pronounce his last name either. He came on my radar late in the season. He's projected second round, but if you're at the end of the first round at this point, you're Seattle, and that's your need. Why not? Because there aren't that many elite. You got Troy Pride Jr. from Notre Dame. Like, he's not a first round talent. He'll probably be good. There's others, the AJ Terrell and Clemson, and they'll be good. But you have your first round pick. You have to make the best value. I mean, it's debatable strategy, but you have a responsibility to your team as a GM to get first round value. And if that's the best corner available, then they have to address corner.
At number 28, Garrett, we have the Baltimore Ravens.
This is one of those teams that is just they're just so good. Like,
It's a
everywhere.
luxury pick.
Yeah, they can literally do anything. So the one thing I actually think they're weak at, and I think that they could use, is a linebacker. And guess who's still on the board? Mr. Kenneth Murray.
Yeah.
And like the you put in, like I said earlier, that Kenneth Murray was the best player on a bad defense. Now he's going to be like just a freak athlete on a really good, well coached team. And just like what the Ravens do, it seems like, is they're going to take really good raw talent, and they're going to just make them even better, like, because that's what they do. And he is going to, like, he could get to the point to where he's talked about. I don't want to say I want to compare him at all, but they're going to talk about him in the same breath as Ray Lewis.
Well, I like the pick, especially because they're a stacked defense. I think offenses are going to be worried about Matt Judon, right? So they're like, okay, run away from Judon. Guess what? Kenneth Murray's over here. So it's a great pick, and it's a great situation for Murray.
It's a great situation for him. Like good players are made from playing in good situations. As much as I hate to say,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like Joe Montana was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but he played one of the best offenses of all time.
There's nothing worse than being a fantastic player on a terrible team that can't utilize your skills.
Exactly.
Right, Tom, at number 29, you're picking for the Tennessee Titans.
Oh boy. The Titans are close to having, they almost went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think they lost a little. They had a great defensive line. They kind of still do, but they lost a little in free agency. My Giants. I watched a lot of Alabama, and I kind of want to give them Raekwon Davis at defensive tackle.
Yeah, that's actually a really
line.
good pick, because they just lost. I don't know if they lost him, but they just traded Jarrell Casey.
Yes.
So
yes.
Like that is almost like like you fit, like move on to one and take another. Like they're interchangeable almost.
Yeah.
At least on paper.
Teams. I think we found that teams generally they don't draft the way that normal people think. Like, oh, you need this position, let's draft the position. Usually, I think the best player on the board, but I think this is a need, and might be the best, highest rated player for them at this point. I think, yeah.
Right. Like especially like they could use a tackle too, since Conklin is gone. But they're all the good, like even the second round tackles are taken. So might as well
get a first round talent.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're down to the last three. Over to you, Taylor, at number 30 and 31 First off, the Green Bay Packers at number 30.
Really interested in this
The
one.
Packers. Their experiments of having a number 2 receiver next to Devontae Adams have been failed so far. I think they need another weapon over there to take some pressure off his back and give Aaron Rodgers, an aging Aaron Rodgers, another significant weapon to go to. Been back and forth between Justin Jefferson and this player. But I think Denzel Mims
Yeah, I knew it.
is a good pick for Green Bay. A little bit of a physical specimen,
Oh, he's
big
dangerous.
playability. He's a little bit raw. He's not a finished product by any chance right now, but the raw physicality is there, the speed is there, and Aaron Rodgers still has the ability to throw you open. So I like his fit there.
I compare him to DK Metcalf, and I think in the red zone,
Absolutely.
in the red zone, he's jump ball. You're not going to win. It's Mims all day. It's like going for a rebound. Like he will not be denied that jump ball.
Mhm.
So he's on the right team, and that's definitely the right team because they need him. And the red zone is very difficult. I mean, you got not a lot of real estate in the red zone, so you need a fighter, and that's what he is. And that's what I liked about DK Metcalf.
Yeah, Mims is like the absolute perfect player for the Green Bay Packers. First of all, like he came from like a similar like your comparison to DK Metcalf is like it's like dead on because all Mims did in college was run straight and catch passes thrown to him, and he was so good that he did it. And Aaron Rodgers, like if you watch his career, like he's made a career off of back shoulder throws and 50-50 balls and like throwing receivers open and stuff like that. Mims, if he's any good at all, is going to flourish in this offense, and it's going to take so much pressure off Devontae Adams. This scary team just got scarier.
Yep.
All right, Taylor at number 31, the San Francisco 49ers.
2 picks for the Niners for Taylor. That's bullcrap.
Honestly, I could honestly see San Francisco trying to trade back a little bit in this situation, but
Yeah, they need second-round picks.
But right here, I see them adding more to that stockpile of the defensive line since they traded away a very talented player,
Forrest Buckner.
Yeah. So I could actually see them taking AJ Espensa out of Iowa.
Oh, wow.
I was saving him for the Chiefs at the next pick because
The fact that he slipped.
there's no way
so
that he
far.
can slip that
A
far.
lot of talent. He could play at the end. He could play inside. He's very versatile, and I could see him making, learning behind some really rugged defensive linemen on that team right there, and become a contributor pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I think he's a good fit out there in San Francisco.
Yeah, he is definitely rugged. A lot of scenarios for the 49ers, they can trade back because they need second-round picks. A lot of people, and I kind of got on this hype train as well, had them going Justin Jefferson here, who is still not off the board, and not yet. And one of the things, and like he's not going to go in the top. We're not doing 3, 4, 5 rounds or anything like that, but I think a player that a lot of people are sleeping on that I think would do really well in the San Francisco offense is the quarterback for Oklahoma. Oh no! Can you guys see me?
I'm sorry, which position?
The Oklahoma quarterback. Who's
quarterback?
Quarterback. Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow. I thought I was the only one who loved him.
I think Jalen Hurts in the San Francisco offense in a Taysom Hill kind of role would absolutely shine. Like
It just made us not make sense, this whole thing.
he's
getting drafted by the third round.
No, not in the first round. No, for sure. That's why I said we're not doing 5, 6, 7 rounds, but maybe in like the 4th, 5th round. Like
I have a lot of faith in Jalen Hurts. You think my original mock draft before the season started, I had him going number 2 overall to Miami. Like I love Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback, as a franchise quarterback. I don't see him in a Taysom Hill role. I mean he's going to do well wherever he goes.
All right, and over to you, Tom. You mentioned they just won the Super Bowl, number 32, The Kansas City Chiefs.
I was going to use Epinesa, but I think the Chiefs have to let Sammy Watkins go because he's a cap space casualty. And you have so many offensive weapons. You have Travis Kelce, who I think led the AFC in receiving yards for most of the season. Might have even finished the season. You have Tyreek Hill, the most dangerous wide receiver in football. I think a lot of Mecole Hardman. But I still think you need that one more piece, and that's obvious. I think it has to be Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Because he's just a complete wide receiver. And if for some reason Tyreek Hill can't get open and Travis Kelce can't get open, and you're not handing the ball off, then it's Justin Jefferson. And he's ready for that role. And the Chiefs still, they improved their defense so much, but they didn't win the Super Bowl with defense. It was all offense. It was ridiculous offense. Yep. And I think that this just keeps the ridiculous offense going. And they're a speed team. They're about speed. I almost wanted to give them Chase Claypool because I think Chase Claypool is an incredibly dangerous human being, but their game is speed, and they already have size with their tight end and Kelce. Their game is speed, and you can't. Mecole Hardman is ridiculously fast too. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is the fastest alive, but their team is built on speed and the deep ball. And Mahomes can. It just makes so much sense. So I would give them Justin.
Yeah, that's definitely a good pick. Especially they don't have a true slot receiver. Like all their guys are kind of outside guys, and Justin Jefferson is a trained slot receiver. So I think he would do really good in that offense. As much as I hate to say it. A player that I had going to them that I think would do really well, especially since it's a relatively weak position, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't like their running back situation. Even though Damian Williams probably should have been the Super Bowl MVP, I don't think I think they could do a lot better. So I think Helaire, and that's the kind of running back needs. Your dad there busting balls?
Yes, he is.
What the fuck are you doing?
All right, gang. This is good for our first podcast. Of course, it was raw. We're hopefully get better. And Manny, close us out.
Close us out, man.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed our first After Reviewing the Play podcast. Our goal here is to just share our views of professional sports. Right now, we did just talk about the NFL mostly, but as the weeks come by, we'll start talking about every other professional sport. And we thank you guys for listening to us, and we hope you subscribe to our page After Reviewing the Play. And until then, we'll see you later.
All right, have a good one.
You guys.
All right, later.